Hello and welcome children to your third video for this week. Students of Standard 9, today we are going to revise the poem The Road Not Taken, written by Robert Frost. The poem, the title, look at the title, The Road Not Taken. It means the choices not taken. In the life, people often regret the choices they could have taken but didn't take, but they chose not to take them, and they later regret that in life. And our nation or the entire world is full of such people who regret that they should have done something in the past when they had the choice, but they didn't have the courage to do what they were willing to do, and they regret that their entire life. This poem has been introduced to you at an early age so that you don't make a mistake. But when choice is presented, you should be calm and calculated about whether you are ready to take that choice. Now, let's talk about the author. As usual, it's a routine thing because whenever there is a question, particularly long answer, giving a few details about the author in the introduction part makes your answer different from the answers of an average child. Now, Robert Frost was born in 1874 and he died in 1963. He was American, but his work was initially published in England before it was published in America because he had married an English woman and moved to England. Later he came back to America though. He is highly regarded for his realistic descriptions of rural life and his command of American colloquial speech. Frost was honored frequently during his lifetime, receiving 4 Pulitzer Prizes for poetry. He became one of America's rare public literary figures, almost an artistic institution. He was awarded the Congressional Gold Medal in 1960 for his poetic works. Now about the poem, this poem was first published in 1916. The Road Not Taken shows Frost at his best as a pastoral who combines rustic simplicity with hidden indirect and clarity of style and language. Right? Over 100 years old poem, but it still applies. Now, poem's title. The road is the symbol of choice made by us in life. Many times we regret the choice we make, but what is done once cannot be undone. Man regrets for what he has denied himself in life rather than what he has chosen. Hence the poet given his poem the title, The Road Not Taken. The word road not only means way, it also means journey or a stage of journey, where here road does not signify an ordinary road but functions as a metaphor of a vital decision or choice in our life. Right? Now the summary. Let's come up to the summary. This poem talks about the choices one has to make in life and their consequences one day while walking in a wooded area full of trees. The poet comes to a place where he has to decide which road he should take. He starts debating over the choices as he realizes he cannot walk on both. However, he decides to take the second path with the intention of traveling on the first some other time in future. This is literary summary of it. What he says? The poet chose the road which was less walked upon. But he had this idea or has the desire of taking the other road someday. Now, let's come to the poem. The first stanza it itself, a beautiful stanza, 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveller, long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. What does this suggest? What does this suggest? It suggests that first two lines are example of antithesis, because he says there are roads and he says I cannot travel. So it becomes antithesis. Then he says, be one traveler, long I stood. Traveler here is a symbol of experienced person. Long I stood is a symbol for patience. Look down one as far as I could. It represents judging to the best of his ability. To where it bent in the undergrowth. Undergrowth are the bushes that grow under bigger trees. Those are called undergrowths. And here undergrowth represents uncertainty. He could judge up to a point. After that, it was uncertain what lied ahead of him. So let's see the summary of it. The speaker describes his position. He has been out for walking in the wood and comes in between the diversion of two roads. He stands there looking as far down each one as he can see. He would like to try out both, but doubts he could do that. So, therefore, he continues to look down the road for a long time, trying to make a decision which road to take. Now we move on to the second stanza. Then look the other, and then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for the passing there had warned them really about the same. So again now, antithesis in the last two lines. Though as for that the passing there had warned them really about the same. What are the devices used by the poet over here? This is again antithesis. First he says one was grassy, not walked upon, and then he ends by saying any passerby might differ in opinion with me and may call it both the roads looked similar. There was no difference between the two roads. Both had been walked upon equally. Now the summary. He looked down the first one to where it bent in the undergrowth, and then the second one, and he decided to take the other path because it seemed to have less traveled. It seemed to be less traveled than the first. But then he goes on to say that they actually were very similarly worded. The second one that he looks seems less traveled, but as he thinks about, he realizes that they were really about the same. Not exactly the same, but only about the same. Moving on to the third stanza. And both that morning equally lay, in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I keep the first for another day. Yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. Now, the summary of the third stanza is, the third stanza continues with the cogitation about the possible difference between the two roads. He had noticed that the level leaves were both fresh fallen on both and had not been walked on. But then again claims that maybe he would come back and also walk the first one sometimes, but he doubted he would be able to, because in life one thing leads to another and time is short. Now the last stanza. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less travelled by, and that has made all the difference. Now the summary. In this poem, the word difference is taken in a positive way, but there is nothing in the poem that suggests that this difference signals a positive outcome. The speaker could not offer such information because he has not lived the difference yet. The other word that leads non-discerning readers astray is the word sigh. By taking difference to mean positive difference, then they think that the sigh is nostalgic relief. However, sigh can also mean regret. There is the oh dear kind of sigh, but also the what a relief kind of sigh. Which one is it? We don't know. But here, the point is, when the poet is saying, I have made a choice, I have taken a path which very few people travel, what is message he is trying to give? That I will say in the future that my life changed because of that decision. It means he's talking positively. He's talking about he would become very successful because he has done what he felt is the right thing. Now, Robert Frost's poem "The Road Not Taken" seems to hold out the motto that life is continuous journey full of divergence now and then. The important thing is to move on without looking back whether the choice of path taken was right or wrong. The right or wrong are relative terms. We cannot get everything in life and have to make choices. Whatever decision in our life, take it determined way by choices made by us. The journey of life, one can seldom come back to travel the roads not taken earlier. So this will be all for this week. All you children, take care, be well, study hard. Bye.